What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and it has not been a great week for woke companies in Silicon Valley. I just reported in my second video about a new round of layoffs at Netflix after a disastrous financial report, and more sadness on the horizon for them due to their addiction to putting out woke garbage. And listening to people on Twitter who are the 70th user on a single paying customer rather than their own customers. And now, obviously, after Twitter was the offer was accepted to purchase Twitter, Elon Musk has been dancing, roasting Twitter all day or all week, and now it appears that layoffs are on the way, including him being set to fire their chief censorship czar, the one with a $17 million a year salary. That's a lot of dim. She could probably afford to buy whatever computer she wants, but for the rest of us, I'm glad to have incredible channel sponsor, Meta PCs. Check this out. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Meta PCs. Look, you've been around, you know that I've been talking about Meta PCs for a very long time. In fact, it's the primary computer I use. But it's not just because they're a sponsor. It's for so many more reasons. They have fully customizable, configurable PCs and all the hardest to find parts in stock and ready to go. They also have ready to ship PCs ready for you today. Here's a couple reasons why I like Meta PCs. First and foremost, it's veteran ownership. Meta PCs is a veteran-owned business. One of Meta's owners has served both in Afghanistan and Iraq and received a Purple Heart for his service. Meta also employs military veterans in Meta's Operations Center and also provides systems to veterans going back to school to help them re-enter the workforce all across the United States. They offer financing. It has 100% US-based sales and support. And when you receive your PC, it's ready to go right out of the box. You don't have to get complicated and set things up. You just plug it all in and you're ready to rock. And on top of that, Meta PCs is offering you, my viewer, a huge discount when you use the link in the description or you use promo code TheQuartering. If you use my code at checkout, not only do you save money, but you support my content and a company that will not bow to cancel culture. So maybe you're not ready to pick up a new computer today, but when you are, remember to go to metapcs.com and use promo code TheQuartering to support me and to save money. And everybody wins. Gamer, non-gamer, how about just getting your next computer from a company that stands behind the people they sponsor? It's the computer I use. Whenever you're ready, just remember to use that promo code. Now, Twitter's chief censor, making $17 million a year, could be fired next by Elon Musk. Twitter's chief lawyer, seen as the social network's top advocate for censoring conservatives, is among the highly paid executives who stand to lose their jobs if Elon Musk completes his takeover of the company. Vijaya Gadde, who earned $17 million last year as Twitter's top legal counsel, could be on the chopping block as Musk is reportedly planning to slash jobs and reduce executive pay as he looks to secure financing for his Twitter bid. He has secured financing. I don't know why they included that line. After disclosing plans to acquire the company earlier this month, Musk expressed, quote, no confidence in Twitter's current management, which doesn't bode well for their future once he takes the helm later this year. Nevertheless, Gadde also stands to win a nice consolation prize. If she's fired, a severance package worth $12.5 million that includes the accelerated vesting of a trove of Twitter shares she has accrued. The 48-year-old, who recently broke down in tears when addressing colleagues about the future of Twitter, has become a lightning rod of controversy in the recent days due to no small part to Musk himself, who tweeted a meme that painted her as oblivious to the liberal bias at Twitter. Well, she was. We all watched it on Joe Rogan. I think good times are headed our way on Twitter in terms of finding new users. I think the gold rush is coming to an end in terms of people returning to Twitter. I'm just checking my account. Well, maybe not. I gained 2,000 followers on Tuesday, 5,000 Wednesday, 4,000 Thursday. It's Friday if you haven't yet followed me on Twitter. I've gained 1,500 so far today. We could try to push through to 200,000, I need 6,000 followers. 100,000 people will watch this video. If you're not following me on Twitter already, I would really, really appreciate cracking that 200,000 follower mark today. That would truly be awesome. Maybe I'll do something to celebrate it over the weekend. But if you haven't followed me yet on Twitter, or you're thinking about starting, that would be amazing. Maybe they'd finally verify me. Anyway, the meme draws on the appearance of her and their then boss, former CEO Jack Dorsey, on the Joe Rogan podcast. During the appearance, conservative journalist Tim Pool, he's not a conservative, confronted both Dorsey and her about instances in which right-wing voices were banned from Twitter. Then the Musk tweet, as well as critical of the tweet by journalist Sagar Enjeti, who called Gaddy's Twitter top censorship advocate, who censored the Joe Biden's son's computer story, prompted pro-Musk Twitter users to criticize her. Musk also implicitly criticized her by calling Twitter's decision to block links to the New York Post's coverage of it obviously incredibly inappropriate. The piece was banned by major social media sites in the weeks before the election, with Twitter justifying accusations of censorship by labeling the story, quote, content obtained through hacking that contains private information. Many mainstream outlets also tried to discredit the Post article before later reporting on the veracity long after Joe Biden was already elected. In response to the flood of online criticism directed at her earlier this week, another top Twitter executive defended her and accused Musk of misogyny. By the way, these people like her, she's making, what, $17 million a year? I don't know how long she's been there, but she can't possibly be worth that much, especially when you could just hire outside counsel. Secondly, she's going to get a $12 million severance package and another how many million for her Twitter shares. So good riddance. I normally don't like cheer when people get fired, but this, I couldn't care less. She's a part of the problem. She is pro-censorship. She is duplicitous, sneaky. She's a part of the problem, and I hope she never gets a job again. And I say that confidently because she's got $40 million in the bank, more money than any of us will ever see in our lives. Laura Cohen, Twitter's global head of partners, also shared messages of support for Leslie Berland, the company's chief marketing officer, who was caught in a leaked audio suggesting that Musk's plans for free speech put them in a, quote, difficult position. Color me shocked that people are... We talked about all that. It's stupid. Now, look, I think direct criticism for that CMO lady probably wasn't fair because she was just reading employee questions at least from how I understood it. So it's not exactly like, I don't know if she was being anecdotal or what it's not all on her. Now, those comments were her own, so there's that. Elon Musk's plans for making money with Twitter reportedly include job cuts. Of course they do. If they're paying that broad $17 million a year, there's no doubt in my mind that he could cut $100 million easy in salary. $100 million bucks day one on salary. There's absolutely no question about it. Maybe even more, 200 million. That's a lot of money right off the bottom line. He could start charging people for verification, which I'm fine with. Make money that way. He could sell services on Twitter. He could integrate additional services. Like, why Twitter? I mean, they finally have the super follower thing, but why they don't have any litany of these other features, Signal, Telegram, all these options that people go to other apps for. Twitter could probably charge $1 or $2 a month for, and people just stay there and be using their app more, which means more impressions for ads, which means more revenue. Elon, just hire me. What are you paying this broad? $17 million? I'll do it for $3 million a year. As long as I still get to do my YouTube videos. 3 videos a day. There's my offer, Elon. This is part of his pitch to raise funds to acquire Twitter. Elon apparently floated the idea of cutting jobs at Twitter to improve the bottom line. Of course he's going to do that. While nothing is set in stone and Musk himself has no access to Twitter's non-public finance, he specifically mentioned job cuts during discussions with the banks. The report says the Washington Post reported that Musk discussed making efficiencies at the company in the conversations with bankers, which would include job cuts. There are still a lot of uncertainties about Twitter, how Twitter will look, assuming the $44 billion deal announced Monday goes through as expected. So far, the best indication of what he wants to do with the platform comes in his own words in a press release. The quote, free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating spam bots, and authenticating all humans. Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it. By potential job cuts, though potential job cuts have not publicly been discussed, Twitter didn't immediately respond. Given Musk's many tweets about opening up free speech on the platform, including ones criticizing past decisions by Twitter, have drawn negative attention to employees, one area where Musk may make cuts is the company's policy department. Musk dissolved the PR department at Tesla, so perhaps Twitter communications groups could be under scrutiny as well. To bankers, Musk may have discussed ways to improve the bottom line, but publicly he's not interested in Twitter for the money. Well, I don't believe that he is interested in it for the money. But what I can say is that, you know, he's got to keep its valuation up. He doesn't want to just waste $50 billion. How does he do that? Well, he trims operating expenses, right? He probably has, what's the word? Not efficiencies, but synergies. He probably has synergies with either Tesla or Boring or whatever, so that he could take certain things, you know, in-house with his other companies and cut that way. But I think mostly it's these high-paid executives, these super high-paid do-nothing executives, where he'll make the first cuts. It's not going to be the developers. It's not going to be the programmers. It's not going to be the, you know, the entry-level or mid-tier management. It's going to be at the very top. These are the people who are going to be fired. And in my opinion, these are the people that are also most responsible for a lot of the censorship activities and other shenanigans that we see that has been happening at Twitter since, I don't know, Jump Street. These are the people that, in my opinion, sought to sway people's opinions on certain political candidates through algorithmic boosting or deboosting and shadow banning, so they can all go for all I care. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.